Welcome into a web edition of Cuse Countdown. Tyler Rocky alongside Chris Venzon and Corey Spector. And guys, Syracuse taking on a Georgia Tech team. Comes in 10-11, but finally getting in the win column in the apparel department. They're making the move from Russell Athletic to Adidas. It's about time.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, welcome to the 21st century. The only people that I know who wear Russell is my dad, so not a huge fan of them, although they do make nice sneakers. I will say that.
Russell Athletic is pitiful. That's like wearing Vans or Heelys as a child.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't do it. What?
I wore Heelys. You got a problem with that?
And look where you are now.
That's a good point.
Same platform as you, though, so says a little bit about you as well.
Yeah,
Anyways, Syracuse, Georgia Tech taking each other on down in Atlanta. That's coming up this Wednesday. Now, when we look at this Georgia Tech team this season, I mean, this is a team that struggled early on out of the gate. They lose to UCLA over in China. Again, they're without some of their guys due to suspensions, but you lose that one, and then you also lose to some historically bad teams, a Grambling State, a Wofford, a Wright State. I mean, the Grambling State game, you're losing on an own basket.
Yeah, you have to attribute that to the suspensions, as you mentioned. Tadrick Jackson and Josh Okogie both suspended for NCAA rules violations, and that's why they started so poorly. And then Okogie had the finger injury, and then Josh Pastor, the head coach, is now involved in a civil lawsuit. Just too many distractions for this Georgia Tech team.
Yeah, the Grambling State loss is tough, especially on the own basket. But from what I've seen in the last few games, what they have done well is they were able to hang with Clemson at number 18. They did lose big to North Carolina and Virginia, but those are two of the best teams in the country. What I glean from this is that they're a good team because they did go on a nice little run right there in the middle of their season where they won 5 or 6 games in a row. What I take from this is that they are a good team, but they're not in that upper echelon of ACC squads that we've typically used to seeing, like Duke or North Carolina, those types.
All right, now when we look at both of these teams right here, Syracuse and Georgia Tech, they almost mirror each other. Chris, I'll start with you. What's the key for Syracuse to pull off a win?
For me, I think that they need to control the boards. Both teams, whoever comes out on the positive side of the rebounding margin, they're going to win this game. Syracuse is a top 25 rebounding margin team. That means they have more rebounds per game than they give up. And what they've been able to do successfully is rebound the ball, and that's played right into their defense. And that's why they're one of the best defensive teams in the country. However, Georgia Tech comes in with Ben Lammers, senior, 6'10" center, 240 pounds. He's going to be boxing out Marek Dolezaj and Pascal Chukwu. That's not a great matchup download for the Orange, which is why I think it's so crucial that Syracuse controls the boards.
You know, the key for me, Chris, has to be keep Georgia Tech out of the paint. Now, Georgia Tech against Clemson, 19 free throws. Against Florida State 2 games prior, 30 free throws. You can attribute that to Abdoulaye Gueye, who had 14 points against Clemson. They went straight to him for the first 2 possessions against Clemson for 4 points, and you have to look at Josh Okogie. He's been terrific recently. He gets to the hole. He slashes hard. Keep Georgia Tech out of the paint.
Yeah, both of these teams have 2 really great guards leading their offenses. That's going to be another battle to just keep an eye out for.
Yeah, so 2 very good guards. Should be a good battle down in Atlanta. Corey, who's going to win this one?
Syracuse fans, you're not going to like me on this one. Georgia Tech, 63-59. Syracuse's offense is just not consistent enough for me. You don't know what you're going to get out of your bench. Marek Dolezaj, Barama Sidibe, is he going to show up and give you 18 and 16 again? I'm just not quite sure. And they haven't proven that they can win on the road consistently. Give me Georgia Tech in this one.
I'm right with you. 62-55. That's my prediction. Georgia Tech wins this one. The biggest question for me, Corey, is which team offensively is going to show up for the Orange? The team that scored 90 points against Florida State or the team that scored 57 points against St. Bonaventure? They've really struggled to develop any sort of rhythm. That's why I'm predicting that Georgia Tech is going to win this one at home.
All right, so no road warriors for the Cuse in this one. For Corey Spector and Chris Venzon, I'm Tyler Rocky. Syracuse and Georgia Tech coming up this Wednesday. Enjoy the game.